Good day to all of you, and welcome back. I wanted to picture this. You're actually in a meeting. The speaker is smart, the data he presents is solid, and the slides are, well, they're a mountain of text. Believe me, an hour later, you can't remember a single key point. Now imagine a different scenario. A speaker tells you a short, powerful story about a single client they helped or something else. Years from now, you'll still remember the story, the challenges, the struggles, and the ultimate breakthrough. Now, that is the difference between delivering information and actually creating influence. Today, we are diving into storytelling for impact, weaving narratives into your speeches and how to connect with your audience at a deep, unforgettable level. Well, guys, the human brain is hardwired for story, whether you believe it or not. When we listen to a list of facts or stats, only the language processing part of our brain is active. It's like a computer processing data. When we hear a compelling story, on the other hand, our brain lights up. Our motor cortex, emotional centers, and other sensory areas all become active. We just don't hear the story, we actually start feeling it. This is a psychological phenomena, and you can Google it or chat GPT it. It's called narrative transportation. We get so immersed into the story that we mentally and emotionally transport ourselves into the world the speaker is actually creating. Now, this is why a well told story is close to 22 times more memorable than a list of facts. And it's not about being clever, it's just about being human. It is the most powerful tool you have to forge an emotional connect, build trust, and make your message truly stick. Stories that transform your audience from passive listeners into active participants in your journey. Now, you must be thinking you need to be a professional author to be a great storyteller, but that's not correct. All great stories, whether they are a movie or a 1 minute anecdote, have almost the same core components. And if you can master these, you can master storytelling. First, character. Your audience needs a character to connect with. Now, this can be you, this can be a client, a colleague, or even a past version of your team or company. To make your character relatable, highlight their imperfection and the initial struggles that they had. For example, instead of saying, our team was very successful, instead, try this. Say, there was a time we felt we were running on fumes, wondering what our next big idea would come from. This makes the audience see themselves in your story. Second, conflict. Every story needs a problem, a challenge, or a tension that needs to be resolved. Now, this is the struggle the character faces. And this is what keeps your audience very engaged when you're telling the tale. The conflict doesn't necessarily have to be a major disaster. It can be as simple as a difficult choice, a tight deadline, a looming threat, or a moment of even self doubt. Now, the bigger the conflict you can credibly build, the more satisfying the resolution will be. Three, now comes the resolution. This should be the solution to the conflict. It is where the character's journey leads through a breakthrough or a lesson learned, and where you connect your story back to the core message that you're going to say. The resolution is the so what of your story, if I may put it across that way. The conclusion of your story should not just be about a positive outcome. It should clearly and explicitly state the lessons learned. What's the moral of your story for the audience, basically? And finally, the core message. A good story is not just a tale, it's a vehicle of your message. Every story you tell must serve a purpose and highlight a single clear takeaway. If a story doesn't serve a specific point, it's just a filler, believe me. Now that you know the elements, let's talk about how to use them strategically and effectively. So, every story has to have an opening hook. A personal story is like an irresistible opening that builds instant rapport. Start with a short anecdote that illustrates your core message. For example, a speech on resilience might start, I'll never forget the day my first business failed. It felt like a punch to the gut. But that very failure taught me the most valuable lessons I've ever learned today. Now, this grabs immediate attention and makes the audience wants to know how it ends. Now, we then go to the mid speech pivot. Stories are an incredible way to break up a lecture filled with facts and data. After a complex slide or a series of stats, if you're presenting some, you can always say, now let me share a story that brings this data to life. This gives your audience a mental break and makes the information more digestible. Use a brief, a vivid story that directly illustrates your point. Finally, the closing statement. A story can be a powerful way to leave a lasting emotional impression. You can always circle back to your opening story and show how you have come a full circle, or share a new powerful story that ties all your points together and then reinforces your call to action. If we take an example, let's say if you begin your story with your first business failing, you can end the story of a recent success, showing the audience the power of lessons that you have learned. Now, this provides a satisfactory sense of completion and leaves your audience with a memorable feeling. Remember, very important. Remember, it is about them, so make it about them. Your story might be about you, but the lesson is for your audience. Make sure you bridge the gap. After telling your story, say something like, and just like I discovered something, you too can find that your greatest struggle probably often leads to your biggest breakthrough. Now, this actually transfers the lesson, from you to them, making it personal and actionable. Well, think about it. Are there any common pitfalls that we should avoid? Well, storytelling is a skill, and like any skill, it comes with a series of pitfalls that one must avoid. Never tell a story just to tell a story. Every story need to have a purpose and a clear takeaway. If it doesn't, it's just a filler and a waste of your audience time. Don't tell a fun story about your vacation. No, unless it perfectly illustrates the point about, say, risk taking. Don't get lost in details. No one needs to know what brand of coffee or tea you were drinking, what color of the meeting room's walls were, where was the projector placed, unless it is essential to your plot. Stick to your core message: character, conflict, resolution, message. A good rule of thumb: if it doesn't move the story forward, just cut it out. Don't fabricate or steal stories. Your credibility is your greatest asset. Now, while you can use plausible phrases or historical anecdotes, a personal story must be authentically yours. The audience can sense when a story is not genuine, and it will undermine all your credibilities. And don't make it all about you. The audience is listening for what they can learn. Even if the story is about your personal experience, the lesson learned must be for them. And that's what brings it together. Bridge your story to their experience and their benefit so that they feel that they're a part of this journey. The flat delivery is a problem. A real story, your voice, your gestures, your facial expression must reflect the emotion and the energy of the story you're telling. Don't tell a story or an exciting story, for example, in a monotonous voice, like they were ready to cheer him for success. Now you're losing it, right? It all has to come together. Well, remember this: information tells, stories sell. By weaving personal narratives, parables, and anecdotes into your speeches, you can actually transform your message from a series of fact into an unforgettable journey. When you become a storyteller, you don't just give a speech, you create an experience for the audience. So, guys, ready to tell your next stories? I would say practice well. In our next deep dive, we will shift our focus to the visual side of your presentation. Um, we will talk about visual aids that do not distract, designing powerful slides, etc. We'll unlock secrets of creating slides that amplify your message, not undermine it. Now, if this video has inspired you to find a story in your own life, give it a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe my social handles for more speaking smart insights. I will see you around in the next vlog. Have a good day.